go live. And that should start streaming just me. It says you're live. Always a good start. Hello, everyone. Well, we always have to give it a few minutes for people to join. And also, there's about a 20-second delay that YouTube adds between whatever I'm saying and what people on screen hear. So hello, when a scammer calls. Hello, Lacey Lockett. Should just tell everyone that Nicky, who's our guest, is listening to this. I haven't got her video turned on yet, but she's here. We've been talking to each other for the last half an hour. Hello, Mythic Hellebore, we may have a fix for when the sound goes out of sync. It's been fine for the last half hour, so it'll probably go out of sync as soon as I bring her in. Oh, the ads are finished. Hello, Poirot. So we'll just give it a few minutes for a few more people to join. If the sound does start going out of sync, and I'll probably say this a few times, can you please tell me in the comments? Because I hope I've discovered how to fix it in OBS. I've tweaked it a few times over the last half hour while I've been talking to Nicky. Hello, Luna Cat. Hello, Crystal. Hello, Poirot. Hello, anyone I've missed. Anne. Hello, Anne. So as I say, we'll just give it a few. Nice stable stream, says when a scammer calls. I hope it lasts. I hope it lasts. Hello, Richard. Oh, that's good, Richard. Well, at least YouTube notifications are working. Sound is perfect for the moment, says someone. That's a bonus. We don't usually get that. I'll just give it another. Well, actually, I'll bring in our guest. So let me turn on. Let me turn on her video. Okay, so I've just brought you in, Nicky, so they can now see you. And as I say, the weird thing for me is that when I look at the YouTube stream, there's a 20-second delay between what we're seeing and what they're seeing. Yes, fingers, toes, eyes, and everything else crossed, Richard. Exactly. And Nicky's crossing her fingers too. So, Nicky has come to talk to us, and I'm going to let Nicky do her own introduction. So, Nicky, if you'd like to tell everybody who you are, and if her sound goes out of sync, guys, let me know in the comments. Okay, over to you, Nicky.
Thank you very much. So hello, good afternoon in the UK, good morning wherever else you are, or whatever time of day or night you're watching. So my name is Nicky. I've got nearly 20 years experience in the lending industry. I'm currently working very closely in the fraud department, one of the high street lenders. I look after fraud detection, fraud prevention, and I'm coming today to yourselves to make you aware how things work, perhaps just to make you understand, also a little bit better what information not to share and what to look out, and also maybe provide a little bit of advice if you find yourself being a victim of mainly impersonation fraud, or a victim of the cryptocurrency scams when money's been taken out in your name. So I'm open to any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them as well.
Yeah, so if you've got any questions, guys, please type them in the comments. Nicky, to avoid feedback, doesn't have YouTube turned on, so I will have to read them out to her. If I miss anything, because, well, you know, multitasking gets harder as the older you get, that's my excuse. If I miss anything, just type your question again, please. And so, yeah, so thank you for joining us, Nicky. So Nicky and I have actually been talking for about the last half hour, trying to get everything stable and trying to get everything to work. We've added a few support links in the description box of the video for UK viewers. And so I'll tell you what, so that we don't forget it, Nicky, should we just say the little bit about money mules at the beginning?
Yes. So this is massive. So the definition of a money mule in general would be somebody that has been asked or tasked to distribute the money throughout the financial system. So by the time they go through several accounts or several countries, they seem to be a legitimate funds. What we've been seeing a lot of job adverts. Let's call it job adverts when you're being asked to be a financial associate to a company, and they said, oh, you need to help us with a distribution of the funds. And how it works, they said, oh, somebody's going to send, let's just call it £1,000 to your account. You keep, let's just say, £100 of that £1,000 in your account, and you send on the remains. And by sent on, it could be that you have to do it via internet banking. It might be that you have to go and withdraw cash, take it to the post office, or take it to MoneyGram, or any other means, or take it to the cryptocurrency wallet. And unfortunately, what you need to understand that banks do pick up money mules, and once this is proven that somebody's a money mule, they will get into trouble because it is a crime. And for several years, that person will not be able to obtain any banking facilities, even a contract forms. So we're seeing money mules being young, old, and middle aged. Some people want extra job on the side, but please be careful, especially if the jobs are being advertised on the likes of Facebook, Instagram, anywhere really. And people say, it's quick money, it's easy money, potentially, but it's a crime. And you could be completely innocent. Well, you've not committed a crime stealing the money of somebody, but you've taken part by distributing the proceeds of crime. So just make people aware. We see quite a lot of students, because obviously students are people that have limited funds available, so they always want a little job on the side. But nowadays it can be anybody, so it's crucial that people are aware of it. And if you see a job advert like that, please do report this. You can report this to Facebook, you can report it to Instagram, so they can be taken down.
Yeah, and I think that there was a very interesting BBC documentary that the BBC wouldn't allow me to even use a clip of, where they interviewed 3 young people. They were about 18, 19, 20, who'd unwittingly been used as money mules. And for that reason, they were all students, they were all hard up, and the extra money was attractive. So
absolutely,
yeah. Now, one of the things that Nicky and I have been talking about is how the financial institutions detect fraudulent loan applications, which I think Nicky was telling me fall into 2 categories, basically. Applications by the scammers for a fraudulent loan, and applications by victims trying to get a loan to pay the money that the scammers are trying to take from them. Would that be correct?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. So there's two different things here. So we're talking about impersonations. So that's when somebody is stolen your identity or your personal details, and then they go and use it and make the application. And you've got the victims, and the victim could be a victim of a romance scam, but they also could be a victim of a investment scam, when of course they are being promised the riches, the love of their life, etc. Um, and unfortunately, the first bit, the impersonation, is much easier to detect or to prevent than the victim's details, because what we all need to understand is that we all have what we call the digital footprint. Nowadays, we know our details are being held with the credit referencing agencies. Nowadays, our names are associated to our water bills, our council tax, our mobile phones bills. We use our emails, we use our fingerprints, use our face prints. Nowadays, the software on our computers and our mobile devices even learn how we type. So we've got a predictive text. Everything is very intelligent. So of course, if if there is an impersonation case and somebody knows some of the details but not all of the details, that could help to prevent it, stop it, and make you aware of it. However, if it's a victim that is doing the application on their own device using all the details, and that device know that this is the person. Well, let's just say, oh, we know that Annie's done this loan because Annie's done it on her phone. Annie's done it the same type, and the text was predicted from her phone, and all the details given are associated to Annie's. Then that makes it difficult to stop and prevent. So please, if you and nowadays, if you make applications, there's always pop-ups. Financial institutions, lenders are aware of the scams, and quite often, if you do a credit check, or if you're searching for offers, that they tend to be a pop-ups now saying, "Are you sure that you want this? Are you sure that nobody's asking you for this?" So we just need to be aware. We need to be aware of what information we're sharing as well. Because even with impersonations, if somebody's a victim of investment scam, the fraudster will ask you for your ID. The fraudsters will ask you to provide your bank statements to verify your address. So potentially, if then they go on and make the application, they might have that information to provide to the financial institution as well. So I think, the prevention and awareness is the best way to go.
Yes, because I was telling Nicky earlier on, I've just finished last night with a cryptocurrency scammer. And actually, I've been making the deep dive video today. I haven't finished it yet. But one of the things that I was saying in there, which I think I said in a previous deep dive video, which is that a genuine cryptocurrency website will require you to go through a know your customer procedure.
Absolutely.
If you're not asked to do that, then you know the website is a scam. But if you are asked to do that, you could, and this is one site which could have caught you out, you could be handing over all your personal details, including your passport, your driving license, to scammers. So you have to be very, very aware. I remember the first time I talked to Nicky, she was telling me that sometimes her institution will catch people who are applying for loans because they are becoming the victim of a fraud. And of course, the scammers will almost always tell you to lie to your
Yeah.
institution. So how do you spot those?
It's difficult. It is difficult because we know that scammers are bullies. I think we've established that quite a long time ago. And they will train you. They will try to make sure that you taught what to say. Quite often it comes down to us picking up the phone and speaking to the person, and just try and prod and prod and prod. But we try to do our best out there. But sometimes, if somebody is bullied, somebody's scared, if somebody, because we know how the scammers work, um, you know, sometimes we just can't. And quite often, even long after the fraud's happened, that victim is actually scared to admit it or scared to report it. So I think the most important thing is to make people aware. And let's put it bluntly, when it comes to investment scams, how much would you earn on your on your savings account in High Street Bank? I think if you're lucky if you find 1% annually on your savings. Investments, we're looking at least 5 years to tie in your funds. And unless it's a high risk investment, you might be able to earn about 5% annually. So how can you be promised a 15% monthly? So I think we just need to do a does it make sense test as well.
Yes. But I suppose the promise, the reason Nicky said 15% monthly is because that was the scammer I was talking to last night,
That's right.
who
Yeah.
was promising Serafina 15% return on her money with Bitcoin mining. If anyone tells you, or anybody that you know, that you can make money with Bitcoin mining, you know for 100% that they're a scammer, because you
Mm,
cannot make money from Bitcoin mining. If you invest in Bitcoin, put that in quotes. If you invest in Bitcoin mining currently, you will lose money. That there is no such thing as a positive return on Bitcoin mining unless you personally own a very large warehouse full of Bitcoin mining machines and somehow have a
yeah.
very cheap electricity supply. So anyone
Mm,
that tells you you can make money on Bitcoin mining is automatically a scammer, because you can't.
yeah.
The other
Yeah.
thing you were
That's
telling me about was when the scammers apply for loans.
yes. Yes. So quite often, um, people ask us, "Oh, how do somebody know my details?" So it's not always necessarily that that person knows you. So the person that impersonates you, because they say impersonation. So the person that impersonates you might have never seen you, might have never met you, yet they managed to obtain some of the personal information. Um, what everybody needs to realise that our details are out there, in the web, in the internet, as we say, floating in the clouds. What you also need to realise that if you're on the register to vote, that's an open register and anybody can access it. When your letterbox is located outside your house, or maybe you live in a flat and your letterboxes are downstairs in a communal area, the post gets stolen. So the fraudster, there's a lot of way how the fraudsters can obtain your personal information. The more difficult things to obtain is the things that comes to your digital footprint, as we said previously. So this is the bills that are associated to yourself, the how long you've been at the property, um, bills that you pay. So you know, very often they don't know that or they chance it, or sometimes they'll just make up a person and they try to apply for something using your address. So you might be getting a random letters from the bank saying this person's applied or tried to apply. So there's a lot of resources, or there's lots of ways for them to obtain your information. Um, Now, the most positive thing is that they usually can't obtain all the information. So there will be something that will flag up, and that will allow then the banks to try to stop it or check it or prevent it. Um, but then you've got the scammers that will call you and they are giving that information. What I would say to everybody, if you start receiving any sort of letters through your post saying that somebody's applied for something, or even if it's in your name, and I've seen it happening, people said, oh no, it doesn't apply to me, somebody else's name, or well, I didn't apply, so surely that doesn't apply to me. Please do take action. So please do, if it's, let's just say, you've got a letter from Mr. Brown and you're thinking, well, Mr. Brown doesn't live here, but there will be, on the letter, there will be contact details. Give that bank, building society, lender, whoever the letter is from, a call, say, well, I lived here for this long and that person doesn't live there. So this will help to prevent any further fraudulent applications. But likewise, if there's a letter for yourself, and they saying thank you for the application, or saying your application has been unsuccessful, or anything at all to do with any sort of lending, any sort of applications, please do take action. What I would say to you, I appreciate that we don't trust letters, because I probably wouldn't trust a letter. But then I will go and find a genuine number for the provider of the letter, and give them a call and just double check everything,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. I know there's
Yes.
quite a lot of information I'm giving here, but I hope that you following what I meant.
Yeah. And sometimes if you're suspicious, I remember you telling me you will phone the person that's
Yeah,
made the
yeah,
application.
yeah. Yes. So you might get a phone call. Once again, I do appreciate that. Among the genuine good people trying to fight crime out there are people that will do the opposite and try to get your details. So it's absolutely okay for you to say, right, I'm going to call you independently and put a phone down. We're not going to get upset, but at least we know that you're aware that there is something going on. So just think, yeah, that's okay. As I said, it's absolutely fine. Once again, if there's some one of us calling, we'll never ask for a specific questions either. So as I said, the best way to do, if you're not sure of whoever is on the other side of the call, just say, right, I'll call you independently. Thank you very much. Go there, find Google the bank or the whoever sent the letter details, and then you can find all the information. You can ring through. Everybody's got fraud department. They will be able to transfer you over to the relevant people as well.
Yeah. When a scammer calls has just said, I had a council letter addressed to someone else who lives at my property. However, I've been the only resident since the house was built. I reported
Yeah,
it immediately. Um,
yeah,
so yes,
yeah.
so that's somebody
Best way to
using that
do.
address.
Absolutely, best way to do, and of course, if anybody's interested, I can also tell you what to do to protect yourself, or to keep an eye on your financial status, or what's held out there, financially regarding to yourself. So there is a lot of things. First of all, obviously prevention. If you get anything that you're not sure, report this, um, and just but we can all do it together. And there's people out there that are happy to help as well.
Yeah. And I remember you saying that sometimes when you phone the scammers who've applied for loans, they get very angry with you.
Oh, they do. They very they are as bullying as they are with you. So yeah, they get angry, they get frustrated. Obviously, possibly they are aware that they've been sort of cut out, found out. But yeah, yeah, it's interesting. There are some interesting conversations.
I'm sure they are. Are you able to share any of them?
Well, quite often is the accent, is the demographics. Um, you've got the old, oh, my mum is in hospital. I need to use this. I need to use the money to pay for medical bills. Uh, I think sometimes they're not quite grasp which country exactly they call in. So obviously in the UK we've got our NHS. Love it, hate it. It's free. Um, so yeah, so it's, or the children are hungry, or they're going on holidays, and they're just stranded at the airport. So these are your general excuses.
Yeah.
Or they go and get fired. That's my favourite.
Sorry, they're going.
That's my They go and make sure we get sacked because we're not doing our jobs properly.
Oh, right.
Well, that's my favourite. I was like, please do. I can patch you through to my boss now. Obviously, we're always very professional. Don't get me wrong.
Yes. Yeah, thinking one thing and saying something else.
Oh, well, we're all professionals here, and we all. I'm thinking saying fighting to saying fight is a bit over the top, but we all sort of trying to achieve the same goal: protect people.
Yeah.
And being a financial institution, being a person as myself is my passion. Outside of what I do. So if we can help, we will help.
Yeah. And I presume that when you've called victims that have applied for loans, you'll get some that will continue with the lie they've been told to tell, and maybe some that will then what I'm not sure. I was going to say admit.
Yes, I know, I
I'm not sure
know.
that's the right one.
Yeah.
Admit that they're being bullied.
Yeah, well, I think there's two ways. There's a shock and disbelief, first of all. Of course, this is absolutely awful situation to be in. People not only lose their life savings, but they suddenly with a debt. Um, so there's two ways. There's the victim that goes into a shock and they don't know what to do, and they will, they're looking for help. But there is also the victims that will blame everybody else but not themselves. And they people will get angry and upset with you know with the lenders, with whoever else there is out there, which is understandable. It's an awful situation to be in.
Yeah. And another thing we were discussing was that fine line between when should the bank take some responsibility, especially if somebody's making
Yeah,
repeated large withdrawals. I'm
yeah,
saying that because there's somebody in the chat here that has happened to, and
yeah,
I do feel that their bank, possibly that's not in the UK, had a lot to answer for. When does the bank responsibility stop if somebody's just doing a one-off, or you've phoned them and they have still insisted that they want the money
mm,
for a legitimate purpose?
yeah. Yeah, first of all, it's absolutely crucial, A, to report this, and B, to be honest with your bank.
Yeah,
It's absolutely because the time is of the essence, because in some instances the funds might have not gone out of the account. The funds might have gone to the account when they can still be stopped and returned back. So the crucial point here is A, please do report it as soon as you realise, and B, do you please be honest with your bank, because the the companies are there to help. And as I said, there's a fine line when have the person been neglecting in providing the information or giving access to people. So they've given, let's just say, the AnyDesk software access, so the scammers can use the internet banking. Have they given all the personal information? Have they actually made the application themselves but lied about it? So there is a very fine line. The first person that needs to be reported to is is your bank, where the money's gone to, and just please be honest and say it straight up as it is. If you've been a victim of investment fraud, if you wanted the money to give it to somebody that is potentially promising you love, just please do be honest with your bank.
yeah,
And as I said, there's several routes. Um, every case, I'm sure that the every case will be looked at on an individual basis. Um, And then, of course, if you get the reply, if the bank is saying, well, we're not going to do anything about it because A, B, C, D, there's always a route. You can make an official complaint to the bank, and there's always a route to, if you're still not happy with the outcome of it, to potentially take the bank to the financial ombudsman. Alternatively, if you're thinking, actually, yes, it was my fault, you can actually set up a potentially repayment plans as well. Um, as Annie mentioned, there's a lot of link in the bio to this video, with the advice and things to do that, or you can do. But as I said, please be honest and please do it as soon as you realise.
yeah. Mythic Hellebores just made, and I'm sorry guys because I'm concentrating on Nicky. I'm not concentrating as much as maybe I should on the comments. But Mythic Hellebore has just said, I told my bank that someone sent me a check for 8,000 and I knew he was attempting to use me as a money mule and they did nothing. So I destroyed the check when the bank wouldn't listen. Was that a UK bank, Mythic Hellebore? Because now when I've asked that, we've got to wait 20 seconds or so before they can answer. Which
That's
is always so
yeah, I
frustrating.
think
But
just a shame you didn't. you haven't been given this advice by your bank just to destroy it.
Yeah.
Because this should be a common knowledge. Unfortunately, this is something that we've spoken before, that there is still in the industry, there's still inconsistencies in how fraud is being dealt with.
Yeah.
They're getting better, don't get me wrong, they're getting absolutely better at it. And there's more and more systems being put in place, and you know, and they all cooperating together. But there is inconsistencies in between each institutions, how it's being dealt with, and the overall experience. But you know, as I said, report this, be honest, and then we'll just take it from there.
Yeah. Okay, Mythic Hellebores come back and said US, and then said,
Mm.
question, are the funds from a cryptocurrency or Bitcoin scam ever refundable, even in part, to a victim?
Um, in some circumstances they could be, but as I said, it would be up to each individual bank to look at each case. As I said, there's a fine line, you know, there's a fine line of, you know, was that person aware? Has that person given too much information? Personally, yes, I have heard of the cases where some funds were returned or refunded um or sort of written off. Um, but you know, we're working towards, you know, let's try and help.
Yeah, so I think the answer to that is, can you get your Bitcoin or cryptocurrency back? No, you can't. Once you've sent
From the
money
wallet,
to, yeah,
yeah,
once you've sent money to a cryptocurrency wallet, there is absolutely no way you can get the money back from that wallet. However, if your bank feels that they potentially should have intervened, then you might get a refund from them. There's
that's right.
also the remote possibility that if the criminal is caught, and any of their money is recoverable, um, I can't imagine that would happen, but it would potentially be possible that the court might confiscate their assets and refund you at some time in the future. So the answer is no, you can't get your crypto back. But if the institution that you withdrew or borrowed the money from feels they have some kind of liability, they might refund you.
Yeah, now there is a little bit update in regards of the cryptocurrency, and I don't know whether you're aware this is something new that
Oh,
I've read up recently, that the US is putting a legislation in to try and regulate the crypto. So they said in some instances that if you filed a case with the is it feds or the justice system, they have started to regulate it. So that might be
ah,
something that we should start. I literally read up about it yesterday.
right. Yes.
No, I don't know anything in regards of the UK, but as you said, and if it goes to the cryptocurrency, it's nothing you can do about it. However, the banks might be able to help out with it.
Yes. Because I think part of the issue is that to open a cryptocurrency wallet, you don't have to provide any details at all. You can literally uh, you can open accounts with legitimate companies, um, but you can also get an extension to your browser and keep your cryptocurrency in there. So they're completely untraceable. And of course, if some countries regulate and some don't, well, it's not going to take the scammers very long to work out that you have a wallet somewhere else, is it?
Absolutely, absolutely. They will find a way.
uh,
We had a havens. Now we're going to have a crypto havens as well.
yeah, yeah. Cryptocurrency is, um, yeah, it's dodgy territory. If I think it's something, I think part of the aim of, well, certainly the interviews like this and the channel is to make people to help start spread awareness and getting the people that are listening to the videos to tell other people that if somebody is telling you that you can make money from cryptocurrency, you can't, unless you're trading it in the way that people do forex trading. Well, you wouldn't get someone else to do that for you, or you shouldn't be. You should be doing it yourself. I've known people who claim to make a large amount of money from forex trading, but you have to know what you're doing. And
Absolutely.
in the UK, I think is classed as a form of gambling, because you can make a lot of money very quickly and you can lose a lot very quickly.
Very high risk. Very high risk.
Yes.
You need to sort of be prepared to lose what you put.
Yes. So, and the crypto scams are becoming much more prevalent over the last few months. They used to be aimed mainly at younger people, but I suspect they are, let's say, aiming them at a wider audience more recently. And maybe because, I suppose partly because the returns on investments with the banking system are so small at the moment, and because of the cost of living, a lot of people are feeling the pinch and finding it really increasingly difficult just to meet their everyday bills, that the attraction of what Serafina was offered yesterday, 15% return per month from somebody who possibly sounds legitimate if you don't understand, is hard to resist for some people. Yes. Does anyone have any questions? If you've got any questions, please put them in the comments. Of course, now we wait the 20 seconds before anyone hears that while we carry on talking to ourselves.
We could have a little chit chat. So what did you have for tea today?
Ooh, the fried worm casserole. I tell you what, the worms are doing really good this time of the year. Ooh.
Wow.
Oh yeah, really?
Really?
Yes. Oh, and that ant topping, the boiled ant topping is something else. Oh dear, if anyone finds this video in about 5 years' time and the channel's stopped talking about fried worm casserole, I'm not going to have any idea what we're talking about, are they? Right, has anyone got any questions? Knowledge is power, says Crystal Hargens. It certainly is. And that is basically the aim. Make sure, I think the schools have potentially scope, let's say, for educating certainly young people from the age at which they can open a bank. How old do you have to be to open a bank account in the UK?
To have a little, I think I'm not going naming the names, but there's a word goal in it. I think you have to be like 4, and they get a little debit card as well. You have to pay for it though, so the parents got a full control. But I feel like the high street banks, they probably about 10, 11 to have their own little current account.
Right. So in effect, anyone that's of senior school age, 11 or over, should be told that if anyone asks them to accept a cheque or an iTunes card or anything and pay it into their bank, keep a percentage and pass it on, that is always because they're being used as a money mule, and potentially, okay, an 11-year-old might not understand that they're damaging their potential for getting a mortgage later in life, but a student at college or at university should be able to understand that. Of course, you need such heavy loans to go to university these days. It's hard. Anyone over the age of about 16 should be warned about cryptocurrency scams, and they should be educated at school that, because I can understand that a young person would just think, well, I'm in debt because I'm at university. This sounds good. I've got this message from my friend who said they've made money. And actually, they don't understand that their friend's account has just been hijacked. And so I think young people need to be educated that these investments are never real. They cannot be real. It's not even a question of thinking, which of course I'm sure people are thinking, well, maybe it is real. Perhaps I should just try it. Just give them £500. Maybe I'll get a return. No, absolutely, you never will.
No,
And
absolutely, absolutely.
it's not going to happen. And of course, the red flag is that they will then ask you for more to upgrade your
Yes,
account or to pay the
absolutely,
taxes, whatever.
absolutely. Maybe that's the next challenge for you, Annie, to do a little informative video for our younger audience.
I actually did suggest to one of my nephews not so long ago that we perhaps make something, because I think that it would need a younger person presenting it.
Yeah,
When I was 16, I wouldn't have taken any notice of the current me, but I might have
yeah,
taken notice of a younger person warning me.
yes.
And
An influencer, they've got such a powers online nowadays.
yeah, so if I could hijack a goddaughter or a niece or nephew or something, I think even my niece, to be fair, might be too old now. It needs a young person talking to a young person.
Yeah.
So I might
Ma-
hijack
ma-
a goddaughter for that.
ma- if somebody can make millions opening the toys and playing with them, maybe they can educate young people in how not to become a money mule.
Yes, that's another thing that young people need to know about money mules. They need to know about the crypto scams, and
Yeah,
certainly older people need to know about the call center scams, the refund scams,
yeah,
because they tend to be, that's not an area that I deal with, but they tend to be aimed at older people who get confused. So they get access to
absolutely.
your computer
Yeah.
and then they blind you with fake, well, they're not fake, they open up areas of your computer
Wrong
which are supposed to have
hardware.
errors
Yeah.
and then try to frighten you, or the classic one where they take control as you're typing in your refund amount,
Oh,
add a couple of
yeah.
noughts, and suddenly you believe they've paid you $30,000 instead of $300.
That's right.
And then you need, if anyone's got elderly relatives, elderly friends, they're the ones that need to know. And to know that all you need to do is refresh your bank page and then you'll see what your real balance is. And of course, the scammers will try to stop you doing that. So people need to know to turn off the computer, go into the bank and check their bank balance. That's the answer.
Yeah,
And also
absolutely.
know that any company that accidentally sends you $30,000 that they shouldn't have sent you doesn't need you to send it back as cash in a package or 500, $100 iTunes cards. The bank will just reverse
Recall it.
the
Yeah, absolutely.
transaction,
The
send it
payment.
back where it came
Yeah,
from.
absolutely, absolutely. And it's the same if you notice on your account a money that appeared to come from nowhere, please, please, please do report it straight away, because this is something that is also part of the fraud. When the funds are going to your account, suddenly somebody's giving you a call saying, oh, it's gone accidentally to your account, where in fact this is loan taken in your name, and now they're asking you send it on. So
Oh,
if you got an unexpected amount, this has just brought me that, just reminded me that this minefield, believe me, in regards of the fraud. So if you notice any transactions, any credits, any money paid into your account that you don't know where they come from. I mean, if it's 50, £60, then yes, do give your bank a call, just double check. But we're talking at thousands, yeah. So even if it's £1,000, and then sometimes they'll test the water, they'll send a smaller amount, and then you get the bigger amount. Please, whatever money there is, whatever transactions there are that you don't know where it's come from, please do call your bank immediately and just let them know that you don't know what that money is.
right, because of course they don't need your full bank account details to pay money in,
No,
do they? They just need your bank
no,
account number.
Well,
Um,
technically nowadays they should know your full name and your account
yes,
details,
yes,
where the funds are transferred to, but that doesn't always apply when it comes to loans. Technically, that should be the rule, but that doesn't always happen.
yeah. So if they know your name, they can find your phone. I mean, getting somebody's, as you were saying to me the other day, finding somebody's name, address, and phone number is a quick internet search.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
if they've got your bank account number and your sort code,
Yeah,
they can pay
yeah,
£5,000 in, and then they can contact you and say,
yeah.
"Oh, I'm sorry, I've accidentally sent you £5,000. Can you send it to?" And
That's
presumably
right.
then give you the details of a money mule. So then you
Potentially,
become
yes.
an accidental money mule.
Yeah, but that money could also be from a fraudulent loan that's been taken in your name.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yes.
And as I said, please be aware if your post is being in the communal areas. Sometimes, and I would love to have a beautiful letterbox outside my house, but I would not be happy if somebody came and stole the post. They can steal your bank statements. If it's a fraudulent credit card, they steal that card along with the PIN number. They're free to go on a shopping spree.
Yes.
So if you live in a flat or an apartment, just keep an eye on your letterboxes, keep an eye on your post. If you notice that possibly that there isn't post that you'd usually receive, just double check maybe with your postman. Double check sometimes what could have happened. Somebody could have had your mail redirected fraudulently as well. So if the postie doesn't know anything, I'd probably just give her all mail a call, say, listen, I'm not getting my post. Is there an issue? Not to scare anybody by any means. I don't want us to go and be scared and we can't do this or that or the other. Just be aware.
Yes. Awareness is the key, and of course, scams are evolving. They're getting some are getting cleverer, but I suppose there are just the standard ones which, if they send them out often enough, they'll catch people.
That's right. I don't think anybody would send the money to have the boxes of gold being sent from Iraq anymore. That's all. Or they'll reply to an email saying, they're in the army and they found a treasure. Um, However, we're more likely to want to be a mystery shopper when the fraudster will ask you to go and open an account in your name and then just hand over the cards. So they're evolving. Everything is evolving.
Yeah, say a bit
So,
more about the mystery shopper thing, because you were talking to me about that earlier
oh
on,
yeah.
weren't you?
So this is something that I've been aware. It's been out there for a couple of years. Um, It's basically I've seen the job adverts when the jobs are being advertised on social media saying become a mystery shopper for the banking industry. So the fraudster will contact you. You'll have to do your application. Of course, you have to do an application if you want a job. So they'll take all your personal details. They do a quick credit search on you to make sure that you can you've got a good credit, and then they'll send you and they'll say to you, go to this bank, open a bank account, take whatever lending facilities you're offered. So they might say take if the bank said you can have overdraft, take the overdraft. If the bank can say you can have a card, take a card. If they say you can have a loan, take whatever they offer, and then you have to hand over your cards, your PIN numbers, and then the scammers will say, "Oh, we closed it for you," and then they'll give you like a little maybe a survey to fill out how the customer service at the bank was. Um, so this is all scam. I mean, people are more and more aware of them, but I have seen those job adverts popping up now and then, especially before Christmas. I think when we're all a bit stuck for cash, wanting to provide to our families, um, just report those job adverts because it's a scam. And whatever you do, if you've ever been asked to apply for something in your name and you've got the card and a PIN number, you are responsible for that card, for that PIN number, for any lending that is associated to that card and PIN number. So it is a debt being left. It's your debt.
Yes. Which is what I've
As
said
bluntly,
about,
as bluntly as it is.
yeah, which is similar to what I've said before about the crypto scammers getting victims to open accounts with the legitimate crypto exchanges like Coinbase or Binance. They get you to open the account, they get you to send them the login details, they change all the details, you can't get in, but they have a because you then have to go through the full know your customer procedure. They then have a verified account which they will use for money laundering in your name.
That's right.
And you can't get back into the account.
Yes.
Um, so
There's a lot and lots of it's a minefield. I reckon we could talk for hours and hours and hours, and discover more and more things like just popping up while we're having this conversation.
yeah. Well, I told you, but I don't know everyone in the comments has seen this video where a major UK bank, who better remain nameless, when I phoned them, I actually phoned them to report a money mule. The first person I spoke to told me they didn't know, literally, that they didn't know what a money mule was. And then I had a conversation with their fraud department, which I recorded, but I haven't put on the channel because I didn't want to embarrass them. But I might put some
Yeah.
clips up one day. And I was just in complete disbelief. I can't even remember what he said now. And I was sitting here thinking, well, if this had really happened, or had actually lost money, I'd be getting very shirty with him. But I was just sitting there thinking, what's the point?
Yeah, yeah. As I said, there's still wide inconsistency across the industry. However, they are getting better.
Yes,
So yeah, sometimes you do need to report this. Sometimes you do need to maybe find an email to like a complaints department and just say, listen, I'm not happy how this has been handled. It provides a very valuable feedback to the industry.
yeah,
And hopefully, because it's an official complaint, it gets recorded. The complaints are regulated, and the complaint has to be reviewed.
yeah.
So I'd say to you, if you're not happy, whether it's fraud or not fraud related, whether you're not happy with something, just do make an official complaint, put it through the official channels,
Yeah,
and then the industry will have to learn from it.
yeah. I should have done that. It's always hard though, because I always make the reports in the name of whichever character has been
Mm,
the potential victims of scam, because when I send the screenshots, it's got one of my fake
yeah.
names on. So I'm always
Oh,
a bit reluctant to take it too fast, because otherwise then I've got to explain to them that the person they're talking to isn't real.
well, it shouldn't have matters. They can't obviously provide you any information. It's data protection, and we're all aware, but they should take that information seriously. If
Yeah,
anything, they should say, thank you ever so much for providing that information. We'll pass it to our relevant department and have a lovely day. And that's all needs to be done. And then,
yes,
and then you go and have a lovely day because you know you've done something right. We know that the industry is taking us seriously and get this
yes,
reported. And we know maybe we'll have one less money mule out there.
yes. Um, which is I mean, it's good that the banks are now taking it seriously, but on the other hand, that means that there's far more of that kind of fraud going on than possibly most of us have any idea about.
That's right. That's right. Evolving. The scams are evolving. The detection systems are evolving. Everything is evolving.
Yeah,
But I've had a very wise person that I used to work with, and she was always a role model for me when I worked with her, and she always used to say, "If he looks like a duck, if he walks like a duck, it's a duck." So
yes,
if it's too good to be true, it is.
yes. And what size of loans are the scammers or the victims applying for?
We're looking at anything in between 1,000 up to 25, 30,000 pounds.
Right. So considerable size loans.
Yes, they are, and as I said, they're very clever, and they usually have a general idea of, of people's credit history. And what's quite important to point out as well, and this is something that went out of my mind, they usually try for several applications at the same time,
Yes,
and this is a to avoid any detection. So if they apply for several smaller amounts, they're hoping that it all comes together in a bigger amount. And of course, everybody talks to everybody nowadays. The prevention systems as well. But then if they don't within a very short period of time, the hope is that they all go through undetected. So be aware that when you get one letter, there might be other letters following.
yes,
And that's crucial to go to my next point. We were going to talk about is what to do if you become a victim. Um, so first of all, as I said, be open and honest with your bank. Report this as soon as. The next thing is to check your credit report. Um, and I'll make sure we've got some links as well. So you've got credit referencing agencies that hold all the financial information about you. So please do check your credit reports. Nowadays, the credit referencing agencies offering what is called a credit lock. So you can tell the credit referencing agency that you don't want any credit to be given to you because you've been a victim. So they'll put that. So that will be taken into consideration. You can have a password put on your credit report. So if there are any applications, then that password you would need to be contacted and provide a password to the lender. Um, and so sometimes, those can get a bit expensive because you can sign up for monthly membership when you get text alerts if there is any credit checks being done or any applications in your name. Um, but I'd say to you, for a peace of mind, just check your credit report once a year. Unless there is something untowards it, then just check it as and when needed. Um, and if you are a victim, please do report it to your own bank as well, because your bank might not initially be affected, but the risk is that that person, if they know some of your personal information, they might try to access your banking as well. So check your credit report, report it to your bank, report it to the police via Action Fraud website, which you'll find a link in the bio. Um, just be aware as well.
yes. And remember that some scammers, and again, the one I was talking to yesterday is an example, will hold on to the information for a
Yeah,
while before they use it.
yeah,
So if any of
absolutely.
your accounts have been hacked or hijacked, uh, just be aware that it might be a while before you start seeing the comeback for that. Because I was
That's
dealing
right.
with a hijacked Facebook account yesterday. It was hijacked in I think April 2019, but it wasn't used again until November 2022. So clearly it was, I don't know whether the same team of scammers that took it over were still using it, but it had been kept before it was
Yeah.
reused.
They probably sell it to one another. They keep
They do.
it as a,
Yeah.
a backup.
Yes.
And it's the same. It's the same as you get. Once you've been scammed, what is called the sucker list. It's all the same with the impersonations. Your information gets sold and sold and sold again.
Yes.
So just be aware, as I said, and that's why I said, just check your credit report once a year. Make sure that everything there you're happy about. That this account is your account, this card is your card, this bill is your bill. Um, and then just if you get any letters, just be curious and double check everything.
Yeah. Does anyone, right? Well, we've been on for nearly an hour. Well, we have been on for an hour. Has anyone got any more questions for Nicky? Just see if there's any other comments that I need to read. If I'm sort of staring into space, guys, it's because I've got another monitor over there which has got YouTube on with all the got the YouTube studio on. because I can't do it. Well, one of these days I'm going to buy one of those nice curved monitors and have you all side by side.
Oh, you'll be in the matrix.
Yeah,
You'll be in the
that's
matrix.
not going to happen for a while. Yes, beta racers never connect to any person via any direct connect software on any device unless you personally know them. Yes. And again, that tends to be the scam aimed at older victims who are just frightened into giving the scammers access and possibly don't understand what they're doing or what's happened. And yeah, somebody told me so. Nicky was saying to me earlier on, do I ever get any unkind comments? Because there are none on the channel, that's because I delete them. But somebody did get at me recently for saying a lot, and they're quite right. I know I do. And it's very hard when you're talking live. I challenge anyone to talk live and not say occasionally. Okay, well, if there aren't any questions, then I think we'll end it here. So I'll say thank you very much to Nicky for joining us. Very kind of you to come, and hopefully people will have learnt a lot from what you've said and also got a better feel for how the banking industry is at least trying to protect us in the UK. Actually, just ask you, do you think other countries are better or worse than us?
I think, and I don't want to sound, a bit over the top, but I think we might be leading. I think we
Right.
might be leading. I think the industry is aware, and of course the regulators also sort of put a pressure on the banking industry, saying, the banks are taking more and more responsibility, so potentially they will have to take the losses, if they don't protect the customers. So I do feel like it's all going into the right direction.
Excellent. Yes. Because the impression I've got from what you've said and from other people's experiences has been that we're possibly smarter at detecting when people are
Yes.
being bullied into taking out repeated large amounts than, let's say,
Yeah.
the US or some other countries.
Yes.
So hopefully they
Yes.
will follow, because
Yes.
that in itself will make it harder for the scammers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, Beta Rays just said depends. Some countries are horrible for their absolute religious rules and denial of human rights, but you mean for scammers? Yes, I do mean for scammers.
Yeah.
See, I've said it again. I'll listen to myself now. Oh, hello, Greg. Rosa says thank you, Nicky, and thank you, Annie.
Oh, absolute pleasure.
When a scammer calls said that as well, and so does Luna Cat. Michelle says thank you. Amy says, hello everyone. Sorry I'm late. I'm sorry you're very late, Amy, because we're just about to finish. But I don't know how long I will leave the video on YouTube so you can watch it back. If anyone wants to watch it back or to share it, it will still be there. It will be there for you to watch a bit later, Amy, as soon as I don't know how long it takes YouTube to process a live. It might be available immediately. In fact, I think you can probably rewind on the stream and go
You can.
back. I
Yes.
think you can.
Yes.
Yes, as Beta Ray says, scammers are everywhere, but they focus in on vulnerable populations. Indeed, they do. Indeed, they do. Anyone that they think they can bully, basically. Yeah. Okay, well, I am going to end it, the stream that is now. So thank you very much, Nicky, and goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And there's a video going out tomorrow night. I can't remember what it is. And I'll see you all again soon. So bye for now.
Take care. Bye.
End. There we go.